Do you remember Fortnite Chapter 3? When you think back, you might remember a whole new island, Biome, a war, a party, and goo that went all over the map. Well, that chapter was only 4 seasons long, and whether you liked it or not, what if I told you you could have experienced the chapter in a whole new way? That's right, Fortnite Chapter 3 was supposed to be completely different. We all know it had 4 seasons, but what if I told you it was supposed to have 8 seasons, and some of them were supposed to be from Chapter 4, if not all of them. This would include Mega, Last Resort, Wilds, unfortunately. But point is, Chapter 3 could have been completely different for us, and how we really experienced it. Well, you don't need to imagine it, because in this video I am going to be creating a concept based on this idea. Truly see what Fortnite Chapter 3 could have been. But before we even get into this video, you might ask yourself, how does any of this work? The timeline, storyline, map changes? How does Chapter 4 and Chapter 3 interlink with each other? Well, luckily, that's all sorted out because huge thanks to Jacus on YouTube for constructing his own timeline. He made a video quite a while ago about what Chapter 3 could have been, and I reached out to him on Twitter asking if I could use his timeline for this concept, and he agreed, so huge credit for Jacus allowing me to use his timeline, and we're just gonna get right into it now. Now, first of all, I am using the PC program Clip Studio Paint, just for those wondering. And yeah, so for the timeline of this alternate Chapter 3, you'll already know what it is if you have seen Jacus' video on this. But for those who don't know, stay around because I'm actually going to surprise you with them as we go along. So in Jacus' timeline, the first 3 seasons, Flipped, Resistance, and Vibin, stay the same, pretty much. So based on this timeline, it's already the original first 3. But Season 4 is where things switch up. If you can recall back in Chapter 4 Season 1, the Rift Warden Stalin, he opens the Rift Gate on Chapter 3 instead of Chapter 4. This would bring in the Oathbound biome with the Aegis, bringing us into Chapter 3 Season 4, Oathbound. So here's Chapter 3 Season 4 Oathbound completed, and as you can see, the entire reality biome is gone and replaced with the Oathbound biome. So I've brought in the Citadel and Ava Square into this concept, only 2 new POIs. I've completely transformed the shape of the original biome to fit into this area, and I think it turned out pretty well. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this biome, and let's bring ourselves into the continuation of the story. Turns out the Oathbound biome and Geno were not the only things brought in by the Rift Gate. Kado Thorne also made an entrance through it. He traversed around and eventually took over the island. This would transition us into Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 5, Last Resort. The POIs remain pretty much exactly the same as they were in Chapter 4, just in different places. I think this is actually a pretty nice place to put the Relentless Retreat Island, as it fit in perfectly. And Sanguini Suites is pretty self-explanatory. So essentially in Season 5, Kado Thorne drained the entire gold bar reserve, as seen in Jacus' video, and that's how he funded all his luxurious new POIs. But in his doings, he actually caught the attention of Evie, and she creates a heist team to steal the time machine. The heist season ends with Kado Thorne being defeated in a live event, allowing them to take the time machine for their own use. Evie uses the time machine to her advantage, bringing in the futuristic Japanese biome, which brings us right into Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 6, Mega. The massive new biome takes over this quarter of the island, getting rid of a good chunk of a desert and a bit of a green. This new biome brings in Mega City, Naughty Nets, Kenjutsu Crossing, and Steamy Springs. I've reformed it to fit in perfectly for Chapter 3, and I actually like the way it turned out pretty well. And honestly, I would have loved to see something like this happen in Chapter 3. The map already looks a lot more alive, almost. Not that it wasn't before, but there's just a lot more color variation. I mean, you've got the desert, green, snow, autumn biome, and now the Japanese biome. If this really was meant for Chapter 3, it could have worked out really well. Evie actually brought in this biome to resolve a war between the Fox Clan, Peace Syndicate, and the River Guard, but because of a huge impact the biome made on the island, it has caused instability, which creates cracks. And we all know what this leads into. Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 7, Wilds. In Season 7 Wilds, it's revealed that the cavern in between Chapter 3 and 2 has become overgrown, with temples and unknown things to the island. Now, Season 3 Wilds wasn't exactly the most memorable season, but to be honest, if it was this small as the way I've made it on Chapter 3, maybe it wouldn't be too bad. I decided to scale it down a lot and make it fit in better, and I think it turned out decently well. Probably my least favorite one out so far for map changes. but it's probably the best I could have done for Wilds. I didn't want to do too much to save map changes for the next season. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Now, what fits in even better for this timeline is that Dr. Sloan was still alive in Wilds. And we all know she got crushed by the mech in the collision event, and the best explanation for her ending up in a jungle this deep would be after she got crushed and she fell down. This would be way better as an explanation, because I feel like it was poorly done in chapter 4. She kind of just appeared for the sake of it. Season 7's story revolves mostly around discovery and exploration, as Sloan has abandoned the imagined order. She is now studying and really finding out what the jungle is about and all its temples, and she does end up finding out that this was a civilization long abandoned, giving out warnings about Kado Thorne, which actually came earlier in the chapter. Not only that, but they find the Chalice of Catastrophe, a direct threat warning about what's to come. This is obviously related to the last reality, and we know exactly where this goes. So Chalice was indeed a warning, and by the end of the season, the rift that remained in the sky from the rift gate still had tears, allowing Chrome to leak through, corrupting the island and bringing us into Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 8 Paradise. In Season 8, the entire island has been infected by the Chrome, taking over new and original POIs we saw back in Chapter 3. The original POIs are kept with Chrome Jam Junction, Shiny Sound, Lustrous Lagoon, Flutterbarn, Tainted Towers, and Herald Sanctum, although it has changed location. And the new ones are Stain Sanctuary, Chrome City, Silky Square, and my personal favorite, Chrome Estate. It's my favorite because I think I put the most detail into it, even putting Chrome on the Crescent Moon. The Chrome has gotten a big chunk of Mega City covered, but luckily they still have hot air balloons, along with here too. But Herald Sanctum, the main central point of Chrome, has taken over Rumble Ruins. It's even corrupted some of the trees in the jungle. But yeah, pretty much this follows the same premise as the original Paradise season, with Chrome just overtaking and people trying to survive. And they do that by going the air with hot air balloons, the blimp, and the ship. This is indeed the final season for Chapter 3, and I think this would have been a better way of doing it rather than just straight cutting from vibe into Paradise. I feel like there's way more development in terms of the story, because 4 seasons just is not enough to make anything memorable. At least that's what I personally think. For the main story of Paradise, the 7 have been overtaken by the Chrome, completely corrupted except for Paradigm, and Jones ends up having to find a new way to save everyone. He goes into the jungle and finds remains of the old IO base that were underground, and he finds the old plans for the collider that was to destroy the island, and essentially he creates his own apparatus to fine-tune the 0 point to gather energy from the stars, which will protect us. The fracture event kicks off as normal, covering the entire island in chrome and exploding it. But now the 0 point is completely exposed, allowing the last reality to completely take it. But as seen from the leaked footage that never made it into the event, the mothership goes ahead and tries to get the 0 point, but fails because the 0 point fights back. Paradigm ends up finding a new way to rebuild the loop on the new Chapter 5 island, Helios. And yeah, that's pretty much the reshaped storyline of what Chapter 3 could have been. I don't explain it as well or in depth as Jacobs does, because I'm really focusing on the map more. If you want to get a really better idea with more details, go watch this video. I'll have a link in the description and comments. And yeah, just let me know in general what you think about this overall idea for the story, or maybe ways you would have done it. Maybe you would have reordered the seasons in a different way, or had different placements of the biomes and locations. So yeah, I'd like to see your own take on these concepts. Give it a try, let me know. You can even send some of my Discord server, link in the description. But yeah, anyways, I hope you did enjoy these concepts of what Chapter 3 could have been. It was a pretty fun one. Huge thanks again to Jacobs for his amazing storyline. And feel free to comment what kind of other videos you'd like to see me make. And lastly, if you just want to see a completely no commentary video about this and just a map showcase, I do have a second video for this that should be up by the time you are watching this. And if it's not, it will be out very soon. But yeah, that video will go more in depth with detail if you're more interested in the actual map changes rather than like me talking about the storyline. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, if you did enjoy, consider subscribing. We're almost at 50k and we're trying to hit it by the end of the year. And also feel free to use my code RapidComics in the Fortnite item shop if you're planning to buy anything. Go check out some of my other videos and I'll see you guys in the next one.